And you've got to remember that the Labour Party's membership had swelled enormously. And one of the things that had happened is that a lot of people had joined the party who, hadn't been involved with politics before and so on. So was this entirely smoke without fire? No. I mean, there's an element of truth to it. But when you really looked carefully at the disciplinary folders, what had happened was the triumph of what's called the new anti-Semitism, which is basically to define anti-Zionism as anti-Semitism. And I think that's all the more effective because my own experience of liberal Zionists is frequently that in their heart of hearts, they sort of do think anti-Zionists are probably, at the very least, a bit suspect. Because to be clear what we're talking about here, in Britain anyway, it's not actually the case that you can't criticize Israel. You can, and people do. Now, you have to be a bit careful about it, and you have to be careful about the words you use, and you can't, people should criticize it more, but you can. What you cannot do is to articulate the core Palestinian position, basically, that creating an ethnically defined homeland or an ethnically defined state in a territory which at the beginning of the process is entirely populated by people of a different ethnicity can only be done through ethnic cleansing, through the subjugation through apartheid and so on, which is, of course, precisely what's happened. Now, pointing out what Palestinians might call the bleeding obvious is what you're not allowed to do. And the whole thing actually came down to that we have to maintain this pretense that Israel is a Western democracy, a flawed Western democracy, one that's got increasingly unpleasant people in government, blah, blah, blah. What you cannot do is to say Israel is South Africa, Israel is a racist ethno-state. That is the thing you're not allowed to do. And to a degree, the whole thing that happened can be seen as people just determinedly tugging that veil and keeping it in place.